We're doing this. Hey y'all, welcome to the Wildflower Magic Podcast. I am your host, Katie. It's great to have you here. Thank you for joining me. This is a knitting podcast with whatever else sprinkled in, as you do. I'm coming to you from Virginia Beach, where I live with my partner, my two giant dogs, and my two little cats, one of which is chilling right here on the window next to me. Embers! Hi! It's gonna storm soon, so hopefully the lighting kind of holds out on us. We'll see. Today's a little weird because A, I'm out of practice. It's been a hot minute since we've been together. But also, my partner is home. I never film when my partner is home. He is in the bedroom with the dogs, and he has his headphones on, so I don't think he can hear me, but it's still awkward. I don't know why. He hears me talk about this stuff literally all the time, but for some reason, having a conversation with myself on a computer screen and having someone else like present is just, it was too much. So I was like, go away, take the dogs and go. So we'll see. But anyways, let's jump right in, shall we, with some finished objects. Where did I put them? Here they are. I finished. Let me put these on blockers, actually. Look at these super cute blockers I have. These little dandelions. Who did I get these from? I don't remember where I bought them. I know I follow her on Instagram, and I would recognize her name if I saw it, but off the top of my head, I cannot think of it, so I will try to remember to put it in the show notes in the description bar below. I should have done this before I started. My bad. Okay, so these are socks, as you have figured out already. These are just some plain vanilla socks that I made for myself. The yarn is Desert Vista Dyeworks, and her self-striping yarn is magic. This is called Zomebody's Late. It's based on Alice in Wonderland, which I'm a little bit of a fan of. So it's Zomebody's Late. And then this color, I don't remember what the colorway name is, but it's a Queen City yarn. I used it in my What the Fade last year. And I just grabbed some scraps for my heels and toes. I did a shadow wrap heel on this by Denise from Earth Tones Girl. She has fantastic sock tutorials on YouTube that are accessible. And I just followed her instructions for a shadow wrap heel. So it's a short row heel, and it's amazing. I love it. It looks so neat, and it's so fast. They're also very comfortable. I have worn these, and I love the shadow wrap heel. Before this was kind of strict on like slip stitch, heel flap, and gusset was my favorite, and I still really like how that fits, and I'll do it sometimes, but I'm really glad that I like how the shadow wrap heel fits as well, because it's so much faster. So that's these. I don't really think I have anything else to talk about. This is just a vanilla sock, so I do all my socks on 9-inch circular needles. I did, I don't know, maybe 15 or 20 rounds for the cuff of 2x2 rib, and then I don't remember how many rounds I did, maybe 60 for the leg, and then the foot until it measures like about 1.5 inches before I want it to end. And then I do a round toe, which is just decreasing every other round until you decrease half your stitches, and then decreasing every round until you decrease half of those stitches, and then doing a Kitchener stitch to seam it up. I don't know if that made sense. I typically follow, if I were to follow a pattern, it would be the Crazy Sock Lady vanilla sock on 9-inch circulars. I think her and mine are very, very similar because she's who I learned to do socks from many years ago. So that's those. And I have a little tiny one for my garland. Look how cute this one is. So for those of you who don't know, I have been making little mini versions of all of my projects so that at the end of the year I have a little garland of mini projects. I think I have another one. This was another one that I did that I just happen to have sitting right here. So I made this little guy, and I had to do some yarn management here because, so it's self-striping yarn, right? And this is such a small circumference that if I had just kept knitting, this whole thing would be like white basically, because you wouldn't have gotten to any of the other stripes. So I did 5 rounds and then I cut my yarn and then found the next color, did 5 rounds and then cut the yarn and then found the next color all the way down so that you got 1 stripe of each of the colors, which left me with a lot of scraps. So I just took all of my little pieces and wound them into this little itty bitty baby skein. These aren't functional pieces, right? They're only a couple yards, so I can't really do much with them. So I'm probably just going to leave them like this because it's cute. I had a couple others too. I ripped out part of a sock that I'll show you later. And I had these that were like all crinkly because they'd been sitting in my project for so long before I ripped them out. So I did it with those two because these, if I reuse them, I will have to block them first. I mean, I guess I don't have to, but I like to. So now I'm apparently making a little collection of teeny tiny baby skeins of yarn. I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but they're cute, so I'll just sit over there for now. All right, so that's my first finished object. My second finished object is, or was, a test knit for Nicole of Common Thread Fibers. This is her hat for Thorin, which we are all affectionately calling hot for Thorin. Look at those cables. I love it. So let's talk about the pattern first. This pattern it has been released, so it is available on Ravelry, and I think she's also on PayHip, but I'm not positive, so check her Instagram. She'll have the like link in the bio to her link tree and all that jazz. So this is the hat for Thorin. I almost said hot for Thorin. I was fortunate enough to test knit for her. I did size 4. I made it for Alan, so size 4 is the largest size. I will put it on, but it's quite large for me. It fits Alan great, but like it's super big on me. But I'll wear it. That's fine, right? So what do I need to say about the pattern? The cables are super easy. They become really intuitive. She calls these rupee cables, like in Zelda. And then these are just single twists at the top. She recommends a superwash yarn so that because it's slouchy. And if you have something that's not superwash, your cables are going to kind of like stand up like this instead of like fall down like this. So she recommends a superwash. This is a superwash merino. I'll talk about the yarn now. Superwash merino. What is it? 55% superwash merino, 45% silk. This is by Fiberspates, and it's their Scrumptious base, and the color is purple. I bought this at my local yarn store, and loved knitting with it. It's so soft and shiny and silky. I love it so, so much. The cables, I think I already said this, but the cables were super easy, beginner friendly. There's a few different types of cables in here too, so if you are new to cable knitting, you'll learn a couple different types of cables, but they're all super, super simple once you get the hang of them and kind of learn what cables are. Because cables are just taking stitches and twisting them, however many stitches you have, and just twisting them over each other. So once you kind of learn that, it becomes much easier because you don't have to keep flipping back to the like instructions and being like, which way's left? Left, you take your working needle and cross them over. Does that make sense? That didn't make any sense, did it? If you want your, also I'm doing it backwards. Whatever. I'm not doing a cable tutorial. Once you get the hang of cables and you don't have to keep flipping back to see which way you go for left and which way you go for right, it becomes very intuitive. So give it a try. I made a little baby one. Look at it. It took me a hot second to try to get the cables this tiny, because like one rupee repeat is bigger than my entire, well, it's the same size as my entire little mini one. So it took me some maths to get down to shrink everything, but I think I did a pretty good job. It looks pretty close, right? It's so cute. Maybe one finger is better. There you go. I think it's adorable. So here's my little baby hat for Thorin. It'll go in my pile for the rest of my garland. Do I have anything else that I wanted to say about this? I don't think so. Go check out Nicole. Her pattern inspirations are always so much fun. She has this one, and then she has the Golden Hall shawl is already released, and that was inspired by Rohan. So all you Lord of the Rings fans, go check her out. She has another one that's in testing right now that's the same kind of cable pattern, but it's a gigantic shawl called King Under the Mountain, I think. I don't know when that's set to release because I did not test that one, but... And I think she's working on a cowl pattern that has the same, like, cable design. So fun. Go check her out. I also learned a new term. I learned what potato chip knitting means. I've heard people say it, but I never really, like... I guess I always just associated it with, like, TV knitting. Like, it's easy, but no, it means, like, you're eager to keep going. Like, one more repeat, one more cable. And that's so true. I was a little delayed because of like life stuff. This did not take me very long to actually knit. If I sat down and knit this and like focused on it, I could have it done in a weekend super easily. It's a sport weight yarn, by the way. Yeah, it's so cute. Alan loves it. This has been perfect for him because we're kind of we have been in the transition from like cold to spring type weather. So he has another hat that I made for him that's like Woolfolk worsted weight, like 100% non-superwash wool that's very, very warm. And he loves that hat, but it's been way too hot for that lately. But we still go on a lot of walks, and it's kind of breezy, and sometimes it's chilly because we usually go early in the morning. So he's liked wearing that as like a nice transitional piece. And it matches his favorite shirt, so there's that. He told me the other day that he liked that I made him a purple hat because he said it's not a color that he normally wears, and so he was really excited to like branch out of his, you know, normal color palette. And I was like, Alan, your favorite shirt is purple. Whatever. It's not all purple. It's white with purple flowers. But like the predominant color is purple, like bright purple flowers everywhere. But he feels like he's branching out, so we're just going to go with it. All right, let's get into, you know, I wrote notes and I didn't even open my notebook to like pay attention to them, so I'll set that right there. I don't think I've missed anything. I said I did size 4. All right, let's get into works in progress. I'm going to show you the one that I have not made a ton of progress on first. So I already showed you the yarn for this. This is Twisted Ambitions, and the color is Rainbow Graffiti. This is a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. I had to math real quick. Did you see that? Rainbow Graffiti. This yarn glows under black lights, which I learned because I took it to the submarine birthday ball last year. Not this most recent one, but the year before. And at the time, my hair also glowed under black lights. And so I was sitting at the table during this very, like, official dinner with my partner and his captain and his chief of the boat and all these, like, high up people with my little sock just glowing like a glow stick. So it was great. So my contrast color that I'm using, I don't know what the colorway name for this is. I'm guessing it's Cheap Graffiti because I probably bought it when I worked at the store, but I don't really remember. Here's what I have done. I think I showed this in several podcast episodes before, and I was much farther along. That's where these guys come in, because I had done a slip stitch, heel flap, and gusset, and then kept working on the foot. And then I decided that I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do my shadow wrap heel because I am very excited about those right now. So I ripped it out, wound up my little baby skeins, and did a shadow wrap heel. I'm almost done with it. I think, I did break my contrast color, so I need to just pick up my main color and knit around, and then I'll be on the foot. So these are just kind of my grab and go project. These are what I work on during like work meetings, which doesn't happen super often anymore, but sometimes. But that's what I've been working on. Then at home, I've been very focused on one project. So let's back up for just a second. I tend to like to have a very easy like sock project and then something a little bit bigger, and maybe something that isn't quite as mindless, like cables or color work, or something that takes a little bit more, or lace, something that takes more of my brain power, right? But I don't always want that. So I like to have just 2 or 3 projects going at once. I don't like to have a lot of projects on the needles. When I worked at the yarn store, also for those of you who don't know, I used to work at a yarn store. When I worked at the yarn store, I very much got caught up in cast on culture. Like, I wanted to cast on all the new things. I needed to use all the new yarns that we kept getting in, and I had to do all the knit-alongs and all the mystery knit-alongs, which I don't like mystery knit-alongs, so I don't know why I thought I wanted to play. I don't like them. Anyways, I had way too many projects going, and then I left the yarn store to go back into mental health, because working at the yarn store was just kind of my break from mental health when I moved from Washington to Virginia. I was like, you know what, I'm a little burned out. I want to take a break and do something super, super fun. So I went to work at the yarn store. Now I'm back in mental health, and I don't have as much brain space for knitting as I did, so some of the more complicated stuff I'm like, but also I was really overwhelmed because I have too many things going, and I don't like that. I know a lot of you guys thrive on that, and cast-on-itis is like, you know, the thing, right? And that's totally fine if that works for you, but it doesn't work for me. And what happens is I just stop knitting altogether, which is part of the reason that there has not been a podcast in so long, because I took a several month-long knitting break for several reasons, but that being a big one. I just had too much stuff going on, and I was overwhelmed, and the decision fatigue, it doesn't sound like a big deal, right? Just pick up a project. But when I have too many projects going, I couldn't even decide what to work on, and so I just did nothing. And I don't know. So now I am on a finishing spree, which is why I finished these socks, because I cast these on in October of last year when Alan and I were at Disney for our honeymoon. I cast these on. So I finished those. I'm working on my rainbow socks, which I cast on in April of last year, because I wanted them for Pride last year and then didn't. The hat for Thorin was a new cast on because that was a test, and I was really excited about that. But this is another, I'm picking it up and finishing it, project, and I have made so much progress on this. I'm so excited. So this is, I'm trying to figure out what to do with my coffee. It's a little precarious up here, but that's fine. Okay. This is the Bojagi shawl by Knitboop. It is not available on Ravelry, but it is available for free on her website. I will link it in the comments, but also if you just search Bojagi shawl, you'll find it. I have made one of these before that I believe I wore in like maybe my first podcast episode or something. I don't remember, but it's like fall colors. So it's a dark green, an orange with like fall colored speckles, and then a gray with like orange and green speckles. And it's so pretty, and it's one of my favorite shawls. I love it so much. But I needed a spring version. So this is knit out of Life in the Longgrass, their Merino silk blend. So it's 50% Merino and 50% silk. It is so dreamy to work with. I love it so much. My 2 colors that I'm using, oh, I left my ball of my contrast color somewhere else. This is Pink Haze. That's not quite accurate. It's a little bit more like lilac-y. It's kind of getting blown out. Sorry. It's a little more lilac-y than that, but... And then this color that I have the lace in is Bouquet, so it's just a cream with all of these really fun spring-colored speckles. And here's the shawl. You start down here at this garter ridge in your color 1. And again, this is way more lilac-y in person than it looks like on my screen right now, but who knows after on your screen, who knows what it looks like. And then you do this really fun mosaic knitting section. So this is, you are knitting with 2 colors. You're using your main color and your contrast color, but you are only knitting with 1 color at a time. So you do like a row back and forth with your first color, and then a row back and forth with your second color, and then your first color, and then your second color. And the way that you get this like color worky vibe is by slipping certain stitches. And then you go into this gorgeous lace panel. It's not blocked yet, but I'll try to like, actually I don't know if I can kind of stretch it out so you can see the, Oh, there, that's cute. So this is the lace panel in your second color, and these like bows are what inspired the entire project. So Bojagi, and I hope I'm saying that right, is a Korean gift wrapping method. Like they do really fancy gift wrapping, and that's what inspired her project. So this lace looks like the bows that they use, and on her website she has pictures of like the inspiration, and it's so cute. And then we do another mosaic section, and now I'm in my final garter section. I'm about halfway done, so I'll do about another half of this, or like not another half of this, I'll double this, and then I will bind off and block out this gorgeous lace, and it'll be done. I started this when I worked at the yarn store because I did a class on mosaic knitting. So we got through the first mosaic section, and that was like my class, and my class was over, and then I put it down to work on other things. So I'm really excited to pick this back up and finish it. I'm almost done, just a few more garter ridges, so it's super easy. This was potato chip knitting. Embers. Hi. This was potato chip knitting because this, I mean, you're in the garter and you're like, I want to get to the mosaic. And then in the mosaic, it's so much fun to do, and it's so simple, and it gets really intuitive. Like there was a while where I didn't really have to look at the pattern very much anymore because it's very, I mean, you can just see where the lines are. And then you get to the lace, and I was like, oh, I just want to do one more section, one more repeat, one more bow. So I just kept wanting to go and go and go, and then I got to the mosaic section again, which is so much fun. And now I'm at the garter section, and I'm like, I'm so close to being done. So it's definitely a one more. And Alan's like, you ready to go to bed? And I'm like, one more. So love that. I'm having so much fun, and I cannot wait to wear it. It's in this really cute Mickey and Minnie Mouse bag that I got off of Etsy a while ago. I don't know, this was pre-Etsy strike, so I don't know if they're still on Etsy or not. I also don't know how to say their name. It's MPOPN. I'll show you their tag, maybe. I don't know how to say that. There's a lot of that in this episode, which we'll get to later. All right, so there's that. Those are the two that I'm working on like the most, but I do have another pair of socks that's in this villains bag. This is Bags by Yvette, and I don't know if she has bags going anymore either. I don't know if she ever had a store. I don't know if I remember this correctly, but I think that I bought this when I lived in Washington at a yarn store, and she didn't really do online stuff at the time. If I can find her, I'll link it. If not, I won't. I'll grab a different sock blocker because I have like 3 pairs of sock blockers that are my size. This one's little bunnies. I got this by Knitting Left. I got this one and elephant ones, and maybe that was it. Bunny ones and elephant ones years ago by Knitting Left. I don't think she makes them anymore. Let me pop this on the blocker because otherwise you're not going to be able to see it because it's a cabled sock, so it's just like, it looks weird when it's not on the blockers. So I have one sock done. This pattern is Gingerbread Latte. I didn't think about that. It's Gingerbread Latte by Twin Stitches Designs, I think. Let me double check. I don't want to lead you astray. It'll be in the description box anyway, but yeah, Gingerbread Latte socks by Twin Stitches Designs. So here's the first one. You have this really fun cable going down both sides. And then the rest is stockinette. I did a shadow wrap heel on this one too. I did a non-contrasting shadow wrap heel. I don't remember why, but I just wanted to, I guess. This colorway, this yarn, is by Farmer's Daughter. It's part of their sock squad that I get every month. So this was January's colorway. It's called Chicory. It's inspired by the little chicory birds. I don't know what this contrast color is called. It came with it. Maybe it was on the tag. Oh, the tag's not in there. Oh, here it is. Let's see. No, it just says Chicory. Anyways, they came as a set. So this was the main color and this was the contrast color. Look at all those speckles. I love it. And yeah, this was January's colorway and it is the last day of April. So, you know, I'm a little behind. This is the second sock. I haven't started. I have a little Hades stitch marker on there, which I think is so cute. My best friend got me a whole set of Villain stitch markers one year for a gift, and I love them. I use them all the time. So there's this one. I am kind of working on this one. I just haven't, I don't know, I think that this hat satisfied my cables needs for a while, and I haven't wanted cables right now, so I haven't been working on them, but I will soon. I'm still doing them on 9-inch circulars. Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to say about this. I did not need a cable needle for any of the cables. None of them were complicated enough to need a cable needle. So if you have not already learned how to cable without a cable needle, I highly recommend it. It makes cables so much more fun, for me anyways. I guess I shouldn't say that generally, but for me, when I learned how to cable without a cable needle, loved it so much, and it made cable projects just fly, which was fantastic. I definitely don't use a cable needle for cables that are on these itty bitty needles. So that would be, this is already fiddly. I don't need another fiddliness factor added in there. So that's those socks. My little bunny rabbits, they're so cute. I miss my bunnies so much. Alan and I have been talking, and there may be a new bunny in the future. Not anytime super soon, but maybe in the fall we'll add another bunny to the family because I miss mine so much. If you can hear the revving noises, I apologize. Our neighbor is a huge car guy, and it must be his day off. He's working on his car before the storm comes in. It was supposed to rain all day today, but it rained all night, and then it's taken a really nice break so far this morning. Okay, I have one more project that I would like to talk about, and then we'll move on. This is in a bag that is covered in fur. Let me get some of that off really quick. All right, this is in my cute little bee bag. And this bag does not have a tag in it, so I have no idea who made it. I think that I got it at the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival last year, but I don't actually remember. So bag makers, if you could please put a tag in your bags, otherwise I don't remember who they are. Let's talk about the yarn for this first. This is Sheep Graffiti. Wow, that's getting really blown out. If I put it way back here, this is getting very blown out. This is Sheep Graffiti. Does that help? No, that doesn't help at all. This is Sheep Graffiti Swimming Upstream. These are all fingering weight yarns. This is Wool and Vinyl Dreams. Look at those speckles. And then this is 29 Bridges. Little Miss Sunshine. I had to think about that. These are all getting very blown out. Lighting is not great today. My apologies. Is that better or worse? I don't know. Okay. This is the Open Bar Shawl by Cali Monster Knits. This released last year. I started a knit along. The knit along ended. I never picked it up again, which is unfortunate because I am very close to being done with it. I haven't actually worked on this too much yet. I think once I finish my Bojagi, this will be the next project that I really focus on, but you start with this really cool stitch here. It's all squished because it's been in my bag for a year. And then you have, I think she calls this the ripple no, this is chevrons, and then this is the ripple stitch. I think that's what she calls it, which will look really nice once it's blocked and like more evened out. And then you go into this, and I'm way up here, and I have another like chevron section, and then I don't even remember what I have to do after that. I think I only have like 5 more sections though, so I should get on it, huh? I'm excited to see what this ripple stitch looks like when it's all like blocked out and evened, because it's a little bit, maybe I was just kind of sloppy when I was doing it, but I think once it's blocked, it'll look really, really nice. Also, it's been squished in a bag for almost a year. This stitch marker is by Twin Mountain Handcrafts. I have a bazillion of their stitch markers because I love them so much. So that's that. I don't have a ton to report. I will, however, move this stitch marker up to where I am now, and then maybe I'll have some progress to share next time. I'm not sure. I also have a lot of plans, so we'll see how much of this actually gets done. I do want to finish my Bojagi, and I'm probably going to finish that before I cast anything else on because I am so close. I don't think I'm going to put that back down. But I have a lot of summer plans, a lot of summer knits that I want to make. I have a whole list of like tees and tanks that I want to have soon. I think I'm going to cast on the Ripple Bralette by Jessie Made Designs super soon because it's just like a skein of fingering weight yarn. And I'm just going to pick a skein and make a little bralette because I wear bralettes. I wear bralettes as tank tops, like under this when I don't have, like, I have a bralette on as a tank top that I wear with my flower pants. And like, usually I just have this on because it's really chilly with the storm wind coming on, but like I'll wear that as just an outfit. So this bralette will be a cropped tank that I will wear not under things and also under things. So I'm gonna cast that on pretty soon, I think. And then I literally have a whole list. I'm not gonna go through all of them because that would need to be like its own podcast episode. And I feel like enough designers have done I'm not a designer. I feel like enough podcasters have done like upcoming summer knits episodes, and I don't have anything like too novel to add to that. So what I might do is a upcoming plans episode where I pull all of the yarn that I have projects planned out for and kind of go through the patterns that I want to make with them and all of that stuff. I feel like that could be really fun because I have a lot. I have a lot of those, and they have a whole little cubby in my yarn shelves, like their own little cubby of yarns that have patterns associated with them already. So I might go through that. I feel like that could be really fun. One of them that's really, really high on my list is the Oolong tank by Amy Scher Makes, I think. It was just released, and I've been drooling over it. If you've been on Instagram, you've probably seen it. Drool over it with me because it's so freaking cute. I can't. So I'm really excited to make that. But one of the things that is upcoming in my life is the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival is next weekend, or like this coming weekend. It's May 6th. Alan and I are going. This will be the second year that we have been, and it's about 2.5 hours from us. So we're just going to do a day trip up, either Saturday or Sunday, whichever one the weather is better. Because it's supposed to rain all weekend again, but at least it's going to be way warmer than last year, because last year it was rainy and muddy and cold. It was like bone chilling cold, and we didn't last very long in that. So hopefully this year it'll be at least warmer. That's what the forecast is calling for. We'll see, but we're going to pick the better weather day, and we're going to drive up to Maryland and spend the day at Maryland Sheep and Wool. So if you're there and you see us, say hey. I would love to say hi to you. I got to meet a bunch of new people at Maryland Sheep and Wool last year because I was working at the yarn store at the time, and so I had done like their social media stuff. I was on their reels all the time, and I had the podcast, and I had a couple people come up and be like, I know you, and I'm like, that's so surreal but also really fun. So please come say hi. If I look grumpy, I'm probably just cold. I do that sometimes. But yeah, I would love to say hey to you. While I'm at Maryland, Sheep and Wool, I have my little list of teas and tanks that I want to focus on buying yarn for. I'm not going to buy yarn for all of them. That would be quite the splurge. So I'm not going to buy yarn for all of them, probably. But what I am going to do is focus on buying summery fibers because I have a lot of fingering weight yarn, but it's all sock yarn. So it's not like the best for super drapey, summery, flowy tops like I have on my list. So I'm going to be focusing on getting some alpaca, cotton, linen, all those things to make my summer tops with. And I thought that would be really nice to have a list of all the tops and how much I need of each thing and which one calls for really drapey yarns, so that when I'm shopping, I have that to reference. Because going through Ravelry while you're in a festival like that is so difficult and not recommended. So I like to have my little list just as a guide. This is an inspiration list, not a like you have to stay within these parameters list by any means, but just so when I find those summery fibers, I know how much to buy for which project I want to make with it. That is not to say that I'm not going to X the list and come back with whatever I want. It's just, I thought it might help to have a list, right? I can stay on the list or not at my discretion. We'll see. I have a lot of natural fibers and a lot of drapey fibers like alpacas and those kinds of things in heavier yarns. Like a lot of my DK and worsted weight is non-superwash wool. But I don't really have a lot of that in fingering because for fingering weight, I'm usually making socks. So, and it's like all of this is just sock yarn. Which is fine. I love that. I'm not complaining at all. I'm super excited about it. But for these summery tops, for some of them, they call for like really drapey yarn to really get the pattern to match how the designer has it, which is what I want, right? Like I'm making this pattern because I want that thing. So I'm gonna go get some drapey yarns. That's gonna be my goal for Maryland. I'm so excited to go back. I can't wait. Okay, so let's chat about what I've been reading. I finished Love by Toni Morrison. That book wrecked my world for several days. I was emotionally unavailable because I was still in this book for days afterwards. It was like the biggest book hangover ever. And while I was in that book hangover and like emotionally wrecked, I was like telling all my friends that they needed to read it so that I had somebody to talk to and like experience this book hangover with. So if you need a book that's going to be completely captivating and draw you in and get you so connected to these characters, but also has a lot of really dark spots. And Toni Morrison is so great at simultaneously like highlighting these really dark aspects, specifically like systemically dark problems, right? And still having the characters like resilience shine through in that moment. And if you need something like that, please read Love. And then please talk to me about it. Because I've had a few people who are like, oh, I read that book. And we've like gone back and forth and it's been great. But like, I will never have enough of this book. Okay, this is one of my favorites. I'm probably going to reread it pretty soon. But like, y'all, this book, oh, so good. Please read it. And then please talk to me about it. I need more of that. I also read the Brown Sisters trilogy by Talia Hibbert. So it's Get a Life Chloe Brown, Take a Hint Dani Brown, and Act Your Age Eve Brown. I have read the first two. I've read Get a Life Chloe Brown multiple times. It's one of my favorite books. I've read it, so that's like my favorite comfort read. And then I've read Take a Hint Dani Brown a couple times, I think. And then this is the first time that I read Act Your Age Eve Brown. It was really good. I really, really liked it. I'm not typically a like enemies to lovers kind of fan. Like, I don't know, that trope just doesn't usually suck me in like the friends to lovers or other things do. But I really enjoyed it because it wasn't like, I feel like for sometimes the thing that I hate about enemies to lovers is that I just keep thinking like, if somebody had said those things to me, I would not forgive them and fall in love with them. Like if Alan said those really hurtful things to me before we got together, I would not have been, I don't know, maybe I'm just not as forgiving as some of these characters, but it just doesn't work for me. I don't like people being mean to me, so if someone's mean to me, I'm like, I don't want to be around you. But this one was done really tastefully. They didn't they were never mean to each other. They just like bantered a lot, and they're both really sarcastic and really witty. So it was very, very funny. She also, one of the characters is autistic, and she has a couple autistic characters, and she writes autistic characters so beautifully and so accurately, and I love that so much. So highly recommend that book, even though the trope is not always my favorite. I loved it in this case. I loved watching them go from bantering and not really enjoying being around each other to like really liking each other to like, no, you can't leave. Well, that's possessive. No, I don't want to leave. There we go. So that was really good. Highly recommend. And then right now, currently, I am reading this gorgeous book, Daughters of Madurai. I am not going to attempt this because I looked on her Instagram to see if she had like any videos of someone saying her name, and I have not found it. I need to like go find an interview or something to see how they say her name, because I do not want to uncultured American, right? I have no idea how to pronounce that. I don't even want to. Nothing that I will say will be even close. So I'm just gonna show you. This is her name. She's on Instagram. This book is gorgeous. Like, it's so pretty. This book is so good. So I am not super far in, but I am already so invested in all of the characters. It's one of those books that has like a split timeline. So you kind of bounce back and forth a little bit, but it's pretty clear when you're going back and forth because it's not the same character. So you have two characters' perspectives, and one is present day and one is not present day. So when you flip back and forth between characters, you can tell what time period you're in. Maybe I didn't explain that very well, but it's not confusing. I know some people like have a hard time with that, but it's not very confusing in the way that this author does it. It is so good. It's so captivating. I'm so interested to see what happens with these characters. I'm already like, I was invested in these characters from chapter 2. I was already like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen to them or with them, or what are they going to do? I'm so interested. So the main character from like the present day time has some big announcement. I have a hint. I have an idea of what the big announcement is, but I'm not going to share it. I think I know what it is. But she has a big announcement to tell to her family, her very traditional Indian family who lives in Australia. So they left India, but they're still very like traditional. And she comes home and she has this big thing that she wants to tell them. And then before she can say anything, her dad says, your grandpa's really sick. We need to go to India. So they're all making plans to go to India. And none of that is spoilers because that's just what's written right here. But then the second perspective is the daughter's mom is the main character for in the past when they lived in India. So you're in two different time periods, but you're also in two different countries and with two different characters. So it's very like distinct and it's like chapter based. So it's very distinctive when you switch from one perspective to the next. So then you'll go to the mom's perspective and she's living in India, and it's, yeah, so good. So good. And I'm learning so much about Indian culture that I've never really done a ton of research on Indian culture before. But I'm learning a lot, and there's a lot of words in here that I've learned that are like pieces of Indian culture that I had never heard of before. So that's really exciting. I'm really enjoying it. Highly recommend so far, at least. I'm not very far in at all, but so far so good. I should probably wrap this up so that I can go release Alan and the dogs from the bedroom. Huh? So tell me what you guys are doing. What are you working on? I hope that you enjoyed this little podcast. I guess it's not really little, but I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me. I so enjoyed spending time with you. Thank you so much for being here. Please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, all of that jazz. If you are going to comment, I would love to have a conversation with you. Let me know what your summer knitting plans are. Are you going to Maryland? If you are, please let me know and say, hey, I would love to see you. Otherwise, I'll catch you in the next one, which is hopefully not as long as this one. I feel like I say that every time. I'm such an inconsistent podcaster. I'm not going to apologize for it. I just want this to be fun. But hopefully I do not go on another like 3-month knitting hiatus, so I will have more to talk about. And these summer projects should go really fast, so I should have some finished objects here super soon. It was great chatting with you. As always, I will catch you on the next one. Find me on Instagram, all that jazz, and happy crafting. Bye!